slightly nutty is raising insects, starting with crickets, as an alternative protein source.
Now with the price of fish meal rising and the stocks of wild fish decreasing, and then soy meal having profound implications with both deforestation and the health of fish that consume it, insect proteins are looking like a much more viable option.
If you think about how many chickens and fish and pets that we have and how much food that requires, it's huge. The way we're growing, it's going to grow rapidly. We're going to need a lot more food.
Neither of us are insect farmers. Most of the work I'd done following my bachelor's degree was in aquaculture, so I've been more of a fish farmer than an insect farmer. I'd say our biggest hurdle was learning how to successfully grow crickets, which is still a work in progress.
They use extremely little water. They can actually get their water from their food. They use very little space. We grow them vertically, which means that we have tanks on top of each other, and we raise them in volumetric rather than planar space.
I love eating fish, and if I could eat fish that's better for the environment by feeding it an insect, that would be a slam dunk.
Bugs and insects represent a sort of untouched, untapped resource for us.
It does sound like a brilliant idea. Like, we've been killing bugs, let's eat them.
Entomophagy is the act of consuming insects, ingesting insects.
High levels of B12, high levels of iron, high levels of calcium, high levels of magnesium, high levels of healthy fatty acids. In many ways, they're nature's perfect food.
I think it's a joke that people say, but I don't think anyone ever really considers it as a nutritional thing, at least in, people I hang out with.
Where, it's not something I would want to eat. We don't eat bugs here, I guess. It's not the norm.
In the Western world, we've got a bit of a yuck factor associated with insects.
We need to take a look at the fact that the majority of the world's population enjoys eating insects.
Back home in Colombia, we eat ants. It's very popular. We don't eat crickets, but we eat ants. They're called hormigas culonas, so they're big, fat ass ants.
In Mexico, it's very common that we eat insects, but for people here, it's like the first time that you see the faces, like people is sometimes afraid of trying them, and the reaction is amazing.
It is those immigrant food pathways that we're now turning to for healthy, fresh, and delicious foods that don't cost too much.
The grasshopper flavor, it's a little bit smoky. The ants, on the other side, are more like crispy, dry, with earthy flavor.
You don't need to buy a rotten piece of beef that some company could sell because it was past its prime. In fact, it would make you sick if you eat it. But that company is going to pay to grind it, ship it to South America, ammoniate it, puree it, clean it of the ammonia, freeze it again, and ship it back to bulk up that patty that's put onto a bun and sold for 99 cents. Rather than doing that, why aren't you buying this amazing bean burrito that's right here that has every piece of delicious nutrition you'd ever want?
So we've got eggs, we've got meat, we've got fish, we've got insects.
Beef's probably more disgusting because they've got more feelings, whereas this is just a cricket.
When it's time for survival, it's time for survival. And right now, we all at the edge of the earth, and it's time to eat, man.
I think we should start with the head. Yo, this is like Fear Factor, man.
Like a potato chip or something? Okay. Tastes like a chip.
Popcorn.
I just ate a roach. It tastes like chips, yo. It's great. Good shit. Like chips. You feel that?
It's like fish food, maybe. Fish food.
Our insect enemies compete with us for everything we raise. They feed on our livestock and our pets and ourselves, and spread filth and disease among us and our animals. Our only answer is to wage constant battle with the bugs. This must be intelligent, organized, well-planned warfare that does not interfere with the good work of our insect friends, nor harm ourselves. Our methods must not create more problems than they solve. Using this proper caution and skilled guidance, we must fight our insect enemies with every weapon our imagination and science can devise.
I'm Daniela Martin. We're in my home in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am an entomophagy advocate. You know, bugs are still pretty freaky to a lot of people. And all of the things that people tend to think about bugs, you know, that they're dirty, that they're disgusting, that they're diseased, these are typically not true.
I've had more really shitty roast chicken or pork chops in people's houses than I have bad bug dishes in several places, especially the Far East or Africa. There is a way to cook everything.
I squash bugs if I see them. I'm not a bug-friendly guy. If it was more refined, yeah, probably. I mean, I think that's what it is.
We're gonna make a cricket powder smoothie. Ingredients, crickets. I mean, literally, that's all that's in here. Lovely aroma. So this, it smells like nuts with almost like a rounding note of shrimp. And I know that sounds like something that wouldn't go good with a smoothie, but it's mild.
50, 60, 80 years of convenience eating, I want what I want when I want it now attitude that we have in America, sadly, I think has made us practice contempt prior to investigation when it comes to experimenting with a lot of different food.
Today we are hosting the 8th annual Bug Festival in Austin, Texas. We're really trying to promote something like edible insects that's trying to promote a viable alternative to your standard beef protein economy. We're gonna get a lot of people here. Some are really passionate about bugs, and some are being dragged along by a friend, but everybody is probably gonna have some pollination.
It's beyond my wealth of understanding to see who would say without trying something really at its best and at its freshest, I don't like grasshoppers, I don't like crickets. I'm appalled at it.
I think, as with most topics that have really bad sort of mythology associated with them, the truth is usually a lot less scary.
Even the dung beetles that I've eaten in northern Thailand, tossed with lemongrass and chilies, were some of the most delicious and fabulous insects I've ever eaten in my life. Robust and chunky, earthy and meaty, almost tasting like chocolate, and I'm not trying to make a scatological joke here. I mean, they really were fantastic. You know, they live in cow shit. They don't eat it.
Entomophagists should start thinking about how do we make these things look a little friendlier to people.